Today is a perfect day for a field trip, and today we are at DGI, a wholesale grower for annuals. They carry several different brands, and we're kind of out here just looking to see what other annuals are out there on the market that may be of interest to us. We know Proven Winners is a great brand. They have great options, and we are so excited to offer to you 100% of the Proven Winner annuals, perennials, and shrubs. But we're just looking to see if there's anything different that we need to kind of add into our mix to just diversify it a little bit. So walk with us today as we go through the gardens here at DGI. They have a ton of potted plants. Everything they do, looking around, everything they do is in containers. So this will be fun to see how these annuals perform in container settings, which I know for a lot of us, we're planting in containers, be it a hanging basket, a patio planter, or just large scale containers. So let's go ahead and take a walk through these gardens and see what they have here today. So in addition to looking for new annual varieties, we're also looking for some container combination ideas, just to give inspiration, not only for us when we're creating the planters for the garden center, but also for you who are looking for just different design ideas. So the first planter that came to, that we walked upon is kind of a funky fun one. And none of these varieties at this time do we carry, although a lot of this could be recreated using the Proven Winner plants. So we're going to look at this. It's kind of it's a full sun planter, and it's got a really unique mix of plants, different textures, different habits and stuff. So here we have Angelonia, beautiful kind of a magenta Angelonia. It's going to be more of an upright thriller in this container. Here we've got a beautiful Tradescantia. This is the Purple Queen, and that just adds some really neat foliage color. It does get a little bit of flower on it, just kind of a light pink flower, but just adds a little whimsy and fun. And then look at here, Gomphrena in the back. How cool is that? This is just a smaller flowering Gomphrena. Doesn't get near as tall as our Truffula Pink, but just neat texture going on so far. And then what do you think about this Petunia? This is a crazy tunia. Color is cosmic purple. Look at that fun bicolor coloration going on. Big blooms. Just, it really pairs well, bringing kind of this purple and pink combination together. So as we go through the day, I would love it if you could leave comments as to if you're loving the combinations that we're coming across, or what you do or don't like about them. So this is going to be a very interactive video where we're looking for your feedback and your input. So please don't be afraid, don't be shy. You can leave multiple comments. I'll see all the comments that you leave, and just give us your feedback on what you think of the planters that we're going to look at today. So this is kind of a cool look. It's an all white planter, so a mono planter. And what do you think about this? The Senecio Angel Wings used in a hanging basket. Now I've used it in a planter, like a container on the ground before, but I've never thought about maybe using it in a hanging basket. The large soft leaves, kind of that silver look. They have it paired with a white portulaca or moss rose. Now it's morning right now and it's not getting a lot of sun. Typically a moss rose needs the sun to open up, so that's why we're not seeing a lot of color there yet. But that's going to be kind of the trailer or the spiller here in this combination. And then they have it here with white sun patiens, which you know we love our white sun patiens at Garden Crossings. But just kind of a mono look, but incorporating the Senecio Angel Wings in to kind of give it just a different texture and a different feel. Totally different than anything we've done in a hanging basket before. So this would be a good one to know what your thoughts are if you could envision the angel wings in your hanging baskets. Shade always seems to be kind of tricky when you're putting combinations together. And this one here kind of caught my eye. It's not like a typical Heidi color. I love my bright pinks, my bright purples, which I guess it has purple, but just kind of a different look with the colors and the texture. So this combination here has the Trinia. This is a Trinia Summer Wave Large Violet, which is a Proven Winners variety. And they have it paired with this really pretty begonia. This is Begonia Bellisonia Trailing Mango. I love the color, and I really do love the flower form of that. And I think those colors pair really nicely together. They also have a little Tradescantia, which it's not really overpowering this planter, but this one here is the Purple Queen again. And it just gives a little bit of that fun texture, and the foliage color is beautiful. They also have an ivy in here. I don't know if I'm really digging the ivy so much because I think that makes this kind of feel just a little bit maybe wild. The ivy's pretty, but it makes the combination look just a little bit wild. But definitely a different color look when putting shade things together. There's a whole lot of shade options in this garden, so let's keep looking at some of what we're seeing. This one here really stood out to me as well. Good use of texture. We've got the fuchsias. This particular fuchsia is called Trailing Marinka. We've got the nonstop begonias. This is the rose picotee, which we love the nonstop begonias at Garden Crossings. They're just such big, huge flowers. And you can see as I put my hand around it or under it, just kind of give you a size comparison of the blooms. And then they put a little bit of the polka dot plant in, the hypoestes, and I think that too is just a nice addition of foliage to this very flowerful combination. They're really loving their spider plant as well, which to me this gives it kind of a messy feel, so I would probably personally leave that out. But what do you think about that? The fuchsias with the begonia and then just that little bit of foliage there, that polka dot plant. I think it's a really nice combination. Moving along, we're finding lots of fuchsias, which you know fuchsias obviously are a shade annual, and we carry probably about 4 different varieties of Garden Crossings right now. But as I'm walking through this garden, I'm seeing a whole lot of different bicolor fuchsias, different shades going together. I thought this one was really pretty with kind of a lavender. It's a big double with lavender and kind of a salmon pink. This is fuchsia trailing. It's called White Eyes, which I don't know if this is actually the correct name. Maybe it is. There's nothing white about it though, so something makes me wonder that the name tag that they're using may not be the right one. We'll see. We might have to do a fact check on that and put the actual name up on the screen, but I do love this color. Continuing along, what about this? This is like, it really pops with this deep purple and the white. This is Fuchsia Trailing Lena. A little bit smaller flowers. They're not those big doubles, but I think this deep dark purple just really, it drew my attention over to this area in the garden and really stood out to me as kind of a cool looking fuchsia. Now, another fuchsia we found, this one I have never seen anything so big in all my life. This one is called Fuchsia Pink Marshmallow. So it's very white, but there is just a little bit of a blush pink going on. And check out the size of that flower. I mean, they are just, this is definitely one you'd want to hang up. You know, you're kind of looking at it from bottom up. But look at that. This is kind of a handful of flowers. Just enormous fuchsia flowers. And I can just really envision the hummingbirds coming and enjoying all of these beautiful fuchsias, because you know, fuchsia is a favorite of the hummingbirds. Here's another fuchsia that's different, kind of a different flower form, different style. What do you think about this? It's an upright fuchsia. This is called Fuchsia Gardenmeister. Nice deep kind of, not burgundy, but deep olive green foliage with these coral dangling blooms. We do grow something like this at Garden Crossings right now called Firecracker that's got more of a variegated foliage. But what I'm noticing is I feel like this deeper, darker foliage just stands out more, and there's a lot more flower presence on this particular plant. Actually, right behind me is the Firecracker, so we can kind of do a comparison for you. You can see Firecracker just, it's pretty. I like it because it's got the variegated foliage, which I think is always nice when you're using it in designs. But the other one just seems like there's just more volume, more presence to it. It just seems to have a little bit more pop than what we're finding here. What do we got here? I mean, I feel like a kid in a candy store as we're walking through. Paula Jane, this is a pretty trailing fuchsia as well. A little bit smaller flowers, light pink with that dark purple center. But I do like the habit. It's not a huge plant. It just kind of is just nicely mounding there above the container, and a lot of flower presence. So a lot of fuchsias, obviously, because those are a shade plant, but a lot of begonias in this area as well. So begonias and fuchsias seem to be kind of the theme here in this particular shade garden. Here's the excellent use of Coleus in container combinations. So these are more of a part sun, part shade planting. Here we've got this beautiful Coleus. This is Coleus Kong Jr. with the lime halo, and that really pops in this combination. Like from a distance, I could really, that stood out to me. Also, we've got the bridal veil, which is very iconic, but it's just dainty white flowers. They have it mixed in with some begonias. This is the Nonstop Joy Yellow. The thing I like with the Nonstops is they always have such big flowers on them. So just kind of a soft color palette, but because of that lime green, it really is quite popping in a shadier area. Bringing up the color level just a little bit here, we've got another combination with that Kong Jr. And you can see here in this mix too, it's just equally as beautiful. It's planted with Scaevola, which we were a little bit surprised to see that they were planting Scaevola in more of a part shade area, but you can see it's doing beautiful in the combination. And then it's that begonia, the Nonstop Sunset. We love the Nonstop Sunset with a beautiful orange and yellow shades. Again, very big flowers, really vibrant splash of color. I mean, fairly soft until you add in that begonia, and then you're really getting a beautiful pop of color. Changing up the Coleus just a little bit here, we have the Coleus Main Street Wall Street, which looks a lot like the Color Blaze Sedona Sunset. That gives kind of that nice coppery orange color to this combination. Again, they paired it with the Scaevola, the Bombay White, and it's doing beautiful in this area. I do always like adding a little bit of fern in because the foliage texture I think is beautiful. And then here we go, some more begonias. This one is, I've never heard of this one before. Begonia Iconia Portocitrix. I don't know, I've not heard of it. It looks a lot like the yellow Nonstops that we carry. So creating just beautiful pops of color using your foliage, your textures, your flower color, some inspiring shade combinations. So it's been quite a few years since we've carried Gerber daisies, and to be honest, there was a series that Proven Winners carried years back that we absolutely loved, but for some reason they got discontinued. They were a little bit smaller flower form, but they were really long stemmed, great cut flowers. So we're kind of on the hunt again for Gerber daisies to replace those that haven't been available for years. And we found kind of this collection here. These are the Joybera series. Big flowers, fairly long flower stems, which is nice. My question to you though is, are you looking for Gerber daisies when you're looking to add to your annuals for in your garden or even in potted planters? Like, is this something that you wish was something that we carried? One tip the gal did tell us today, the grower was out, and we were just saying, you know, the Gerber daisies, they flower and then it seems like it takes them forever to flower again. Like, what can be done about that? Has the breeding been made better so that it keeps the flowers cycling quicker? And one thing she said is, with these planters, they're going in and they'll find the flower bud and they're going to trim some of the foliage away around the flower bud. And the reason they're doing that is to allow more sun into the plant. And the more sun that gets into the plant, the quicker it is to kind of initiate those flowers and those blooms. So I thought that was kind of an interesting tidbit or pointer that she had pointed out. But yeah, a lot of different color options. You've got your solid pinks, your pinks with the halos, reds, yellows, oranges, tangerines. You know all the colors that Gerber daisies come in. And with these here, I mean, like I said, they got nice long stems, so they're sitting nicely above the foliage. So they really do kind of feel like that swaying, flowing flower that I think is really nice. Gerber daisies, do you look at them as something you would plant in just a little pot and put it on like your table, your dining table outdoors? Or is it something that you'd look to do a big planter of and put them on your patio as more bigger master plantings? I don't know. What are your thoughts on the Gerber daisies? We're going to head on over now to geraniums because there is a ton of geranium color. I know geraniums are kind of an old-fashioned plant. Some of us would call it an old-fashioned favorite. Others would call it an old-fashioned, it can stay in the old days. But I think that they're just kind of a staple that a lot of gardeners still use with their hanging baskets and planters because, number one, they're deer resistant. They're fairly easy to grow. Yes, you have to go out there and deadhead them, but they give you that very reliable color. So let's head on down a little ways and check out the geraniums and see what colors look of interest to you there. So one thing with the geraniums is you've got geraniums that are just a solid color. You have geraniums that are more of a bicolor. So we are looking here today at some of the bicolor geraniums just because they're a little bit different and stand out. So here we have a really beautiful pink. It's a corally pink with a dark coral pink center. This is called Pink Flame. We've also got the bright magenta, or it's not even magenta, it's more like a purple pink. But this is bright rose, where it's rosy and then it's got the dark centers on it. So here's a variety we carried years ago. This is the Rose Mega Splash. Beautiful big blooms. I'm loving the bicolor. So when you're looking, if you're a geranium person, are you looking for a more solid color geranium, or are you somebody that's looking for more of these bicolor blooms? Personally, I think the bicolor is interesting because it's got, I think the bicolor just kind of makes them pop and stand out. There is no right or wrong answer to this question, but lots of big, beautiful blooms. So another question, are you a red, a white, a coral, or a pink lover when it comes to geraniums? So when we set our numbers this fall with our geranium numbers, it'd be good to know that if you are somebody that's planting geraniums, what is your color palette, so we can kind of figure out like, okay, we need to go heavier on reds because most people say they like reds, or heavier on pinks because most people like pinks. Beautiful color options. Not saying these are going to be the geraniums we're carrying, because we are definitely on the hunt right now for the best geraniums that are out there on the market. Things that we're looking for with geranium habit is, like this one in front of me, does it have a nice tight habit? Is it fairly tight and compact? I'm not looking for the geraniums that get big and kind of sprawl everywhere. I like geraniums that sit nice tightly on the foliage, lots of flower presence, and isn't something I have to worry about. It's going to split open and crack. So in the containers here, this brand, this is the Coleus geraniums. They all seem to have a pretty good pot presence where they are setting nicely in the pot with flowers just nestled just the right amount above the foliage. Even the hanging baskets up there on their hanging basket wall, they're sitting there nicely. Some of them feel like they're a little bit sprawled out for me, and that would be something we would try to not choose when we're choosing the geraniums, the ones that are more sprawly. For example, here, this one, this isn't the look I like with geraniums. I like the flower, the foliage to all be setting right up on top of the pot. So things that we're looking for when we're on the hunt for the next best geraniums to carry here at Garden Crossings. Thank you for walking through the gardens with us today at DGI, the wholesale grower. We're hoping that we were able to give you some inspiration when we looked at some of those combination planters. I know that we were inspired and definitely have taken a lot of notes as to potential new annuals that we can add here at Garden Crossings. We do value your comments, so if there was anything that you saw that looked of interest, please leave them below. Thanks for watching. I'm Heidi at Garden Crossings.